Elephant in Main Street International presents Izindlovu FM. Izindlovu FM, where we empower our listeners. We discuss the hot topics. We confront the relevant issues. We ask the right questions. Be a part of the movement that is Izindlovu FM and help change the world. The power of unity, the home of growth. Izindlovu FM. Be empowered.
Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of our Elephants podcast. I have Des here with me today, and today we're going to be discussing a topic called creative confidence. So Des, what does creative confidence mean to you?
So from my perspective, I mean, everybody has their own journey about creative confidence, but from my perspective, we have these fears, we have these things that are developed throughout our lives where we are told something or we go through a certain experience, and that experience or that certain thing that happens to us almost defines us as life keeps going. So you have a teacher who tells you that you're really bad at ABC or whatever it might be, or a parent who tells you that you're not really good at this or that, or you fail once at one particular thing that you thought you were good at, and then for the rest of your life you think that you can't do this thing anymore. So every time somebody asks you to do that thing, you freeze, you can't do it. It's almost like this thing that's hovering above you. So that's basically what it is from my perspective.
Yeah, I think it's a very important topic you touched on there, how this fear that gets instilled in us for a lot of people, like myself included, how it can start from childhood, you know. Somebody tells you can't do something, and that automatically sets up this barrier in your mind, you know. It stops you from expressing yourself, and that fear is something that we can keep for the rest of our lives. Talking to that topic, I mean, it helps me relate to a story that Steve likes to talk about a tribe in Africa where he uses the terminology, is it a shadow or is it a wall? And I think a lot of things in our lives are actually shadows instead of walls, yet we perceive them as walls, and because we perceive them as walls, we confine ourselves to those spaces, you know. And I think it hinders a lot of aspects of our life, you know, creativity being one of them. I think it moves into the realm of we put these walls around us, so we confine ourselves in our ability to certain areas. Whereas if we just realized that it was a shadow and not a wall, and we stepped outside of our comfort zones, it would really help us express ourselves better and actually reach further heights than we actually believed we could achieve. And it's a very interesting topic that we can discuss, and I think it's a good observation how it stems from all these various areas. Tell me, we watched this video called How to Build Your Creative Confidence by David Keller. It's on TED Talk. What did you think about the video?
Now, I thought it was a very interesting video. So for me, I looked at it and I thought to myself, I mean, you get people in certain fields, right? So you get an engineer, for example, who is very good at mathematics, who's very good at what they're doing, and they think that in their minds that they can't do anything creative. But if you think about it, engineering, mathematics, and creativity all comes together at the end of the day, because people that create cars, people that create televisions, people that create our everyday technology, you have to be creative in order to pull those things off. So sometimes we put ourselves in these boxes, and then we keep these boxes around us. But in order for an organization to flourish, and in order for ourselves to flourish in our own lives, we have to sort of remove these boxes and allow ourselves to sort of live freely, if you know what I mean. And what was your observation of the video?
Yeah, so one of the things I took from it, he talks about Dr. Bandura. So apparently he's the fourth most important psychologist of the era of psychology. And he did this work on phobias, and he got very good results of getting people over phobias. And how he did that was by incrementally introducing them to their phobias, facing their phobias. And I think that's something we can take back and use in ourselves, in our daily lives, you know, where we need to start overcoming our own phobias, our own fears, our own restrictions, you know, these boxes. We need to start looking outside the box and be comfortable with stepping outside that box. like, it's very important that we start getting out of our comfort zones. If we live in our comfort zones, we'll never shine, we'll never thrive. And I think I recommend anybody listening to this podcast, I recommend go watch the video. It's How to Build Your Creative Confidence by David Keller. It's a TED Talk. Really great video. A lot you can learn from it. So tell me, Des, in your experience, where do you think your creative confidence can grow from here?
Yeah, I mean, for me as a creative video producer on my side, creativity is sort of like an everyday thing. It's very easy for me to be afraid to try new things. It's very easy for me to be afraid to, go outside of the box, if you know what I mean. You as well, obviously in the same field. So for us, I think that it's something that we need to remind ourselves of every single day. It's something that we need to look at with every single project that we work on. When we look at a project and we have to ask ourselves, can I try this? Can I do this? Is this going to work? And sometimes it doesn't work, but that doesn't matter. The point is to try and to see where you get to with that project. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. It's just about trying, being able to accept failure. I know none of us like to fail, but being able to accept failure as a lesson and how to progress, it's integral. We also read a story about Thomas Edison. I'm not sure if you've read it, where he has this famous quote of, "I learned 101 ways not to make a light bulb," in his pursuit of making a light bulb. And again, it's that ideology of not being afraid to fail, to change the thinking behind it, to a way not to do something. You're discovering something along the process. It's not just an outright failure. It's still experience gained. It's a lesson learned, and it's a movement into the right step.
Exactly. So each failure, it's not just failing, as you're saying. You're moving in the right direction. You're moving into the direction of your success. Whether you're failing once, twice, or whether you're failing 999 times, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, you're getting to where you need to get to.
Anyway, Des, thanks for the chat. If we can leave you guys with anything as our final words, I'd just like to say that don't be afraid to fail. Remove the walls around you, because they're just shadows, and shine, people. We hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening to our first podcast. Des, thank you very much for your time, and we'll see you guys soon.
The power of unity, the home of growth. Izindlovu FM. Be empowered.